Page 300. This is a lesson on a whole tone scale. This includes the reading exercise at the bottom of the page. We've had chromatic scale. That is where you're dealing only in half steps. Every note is a half step apart, up or down, okay? Whole tone scale is where you're dealing only in whole steps. Every note is a whole step apart. There are no half steps. And there's only really, for piano, there's only a couple of them to learn. Either you're using all the group of three black keys, or you're using all of a group of two. Because let's start on C. C. And we go up a whole step only. It's whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step. See, we use these three, so it's here. Or if I start, let's say I start on an F, and I do whole steps only. So I go whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step, whole step. See, I just use these. Whole step scale, and for piano, that's the only two you get. I mean, you can get whole step scales starting on any of the 12 notes. But the point is, the pattern you get on the keyboard is either you're going to use all these or all these. These. That's all you get, just the two. And that's really what it is, and that's what they're showing you up here. They're starting with the F here. And it turns out to be a whole tone scale. So let's go through this reading exercise. I can bet you dollars to donuts they're going to use all whole tone scale here, or whole tone steps. Whole steps. I'll get there eventually. Look it over. It's 2 lines long. Treble and bass clef. No sharps or flats in the key signature. You'd think C major or A minor, but when you look at it, it's actually a whole tone scale. And I don't have videos on whole tone scales. I don't teach them because I just don't use them enough. You got this or you got this. Take your pick. And 3/4 time. Let's take it one hand at a time, and you can bet you're not going to find any half steps in here. 5 finger. 2, 3. 2, 3. It's down. Okay, all whole tone. Yes, it sounds different. Well, a whole tone scale does. Left hand. Got these chords. Again, no half steps. 1, 2, 3, 1. Just come down 1. So G flat, A flat, A. And then measure 5, go back up. A flat, B flat, D. That's pretty much the chords. Here, here, or here. So put it together. What does this sound like? And here. So again, that's a whole step apart. That's what it sounds like. Okay. And once I have that, I can go without any hesitation. So then I add the articulation. This left hand, I'm going to try and connect it. With the right hand, I can lift up every 2 measures. Lift up. And then connect the last line all together here. Okay, so I put in the phrasing. Dynamics is starting out F forte. That's the melody, which is the right hand. Whatever you think forte is. These chords need to be sort of in the background someplace. Kind of judge it, huh? And now I get to measure 5, come down to moderately loud, and go back up to loud. Careful. I mean, you got 3 measures to get loud. Don't get loud to the last measure. So here, your measure 5, I'm staying at moderately loud. I'm not changing it. I'm going up just a hair. A little bit more. Now I'm loud. So each measure I just went up just a hair, and I didn't actually start getting louder until measure 6. I squished it down a little bit. I mean, when you have these hairpins anyway, you're not going to get loud immediately. You gradually get into it. So at the beginning of the hairpin, you're staying where you're at, and then you start moving. So it's moderately loud. Now a little bit. Yeah. Now the speed is adagio, that way you can enjoy the noise even longer. It's slow, whatever you think slow is. Just don't go too adagio. We don't want to go too slow, because then that drags it. It doesn't work on piano very well because the piano is too percussive. We need a little bit of speed to let it flow, but just let it be a slow flow. Now they've added pedal here, and there's not a lot to it. It's a legato pedal, and you're changing the pedal every time you're changing the chord in the left hand. That's all. And it's overlapping. I'm not going to show the pedal. You can do the pedal on this. It's just... I kind of went up to very loud at the end. It was whatever. You have to experiment and feel it. The natural accents, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The problem with a piece like this, other than the harmony, is that when you start out really slow, you're going to want to speed up. So we all have a natural speed we want to go. It's kind of built in. We have our own comfortable speed. And when we play fast pieces, we want to tend to slow them down. And when we play slow pieces like this, we're going to want to tend to speed them up. So you might start out here, but by the time you get to measure 6 or so, you've sped up, because that's closer to your comfortable speed. So be very aware of it and use a metronome if you need to keep it slow all the way throughout. So you're paying attention to that. While you're paying attention to the notes and the rhythm and the dynamics and the articulation and the pedaling and everything all at the same time, well, have a nice day. I'm not going to do a play with me on this because it's, how can you tell if you're hitting a wrong note or not when it sounds like that? So let me know if you have questions, but hopefully you can read that. Rhythm-wise and notes-wise really isn't difficult. Just keep in mind it's always, there are no half steps in here anywhere.